welcome. We would like to welcome all of you to Catholic Prison Ministries Coalition's Town Hall on reentry specifically. And this is a wonderful, I'm very, very excited about this town hall, and it follows perfectly right behind our last week's webinar on when Sister Maureen O'Connell presented on Angela's house. And it was an Adrian Dominican that started a house in Houston, Texas. She alluded to a lot of the issues that women face that are re-entering society after incarceration. And today we have the presence of the founder of the New Way of Life. She has been appropriately called the modern day Harriet Tubman, because she's doing true freedom work. And with all of the women that are re-entering society and giving them a new lease in life. So true freedom from self and into our community. And we also have Father Perry Henry, who is joining us from Montebello, California. So thank you for your early morning, first thing in the morning work here. He's the director of the DePaul Evangelization Center in Montebello. And he has a long history of ministry, which is really tied into his current continual work in the detention facility in Linwood, California, and the Women's County Jail in Los Angeles. And so we're grateful for his ministry, his experience, and we just appreciate both of you taking the time to share. Those of you that are on the call, we are going to be recording this because so much information important is going to be relayed. If you do have any questions, please put them into the chat. If we have some time at the end, we can open it up to the mic, and we'll make sure that Father Perry and Susan address those issues. So I'm going to first off turn it over to Father Perry. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Karen. Appreciate this opportunity to be here with you. Thank all of you who are in attendance today. I am delighted to be here with you to share with you about some of the collaboration we're doing in the area of for returning citizens back home. I want to just say I feel honored and privileged to share the stage today with Susan Burton. I only met Susan about a year ago and learned about the work that she was doing with the formerly incarcerated women. And as I have had the opportunity to meet her and learn more about her and hear what's going on and work alongside of her, I am truly inspired and impressed with the work that she has done with a New Way of Life. And you're going to hear more about that a little bit later. How did I get involved in this ministry? Well, let me give you a little background myself right now. As Karen mentioned, I am the director. I've been the director of DePaul Evangelization Center for the last 6 years. However, that ministry concluded this past December. And right now I'm kind of just the caretaker of a large facility that once was an evangelization center, and we're still looking to see how can we use that in moving forward. But in addition to that work, I am the spiritual advisor for the St. Vincent de Paul Society for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, and also the spiritual advisor for the Ladies of Charity, another organization that was founded by St. Vincent de Paul. My religious order was founded in the 17th century, and Ladies of Charity as well. Little background, there are approximately about 2,000 members of the St. Vincent de Paul Society in the Los Angeles area. And we serve in about 135 conferences, and that means in about 135, mostly parishes in the Archdiocese. How I got involved in the jail or prison ministry. As I mentioned, I had been the director of the Evangelization Center. Actually, that freed me up on my weekends. I didn't have the regular parish assignments, so I would wind up helping in different places. I decided I wanted to volunteer to do jail or prison ministry, and actually the large LA County women's jail not far from where I live, and that facility houses some 2,000 women. I've heard It's the largest women's jail prison in the country, and some say in the world. I volunteer to go two Sundays a month to do mass there. But a little story about that was that when I arrived, one of the things I was asked to do was actually a number of the ladies were interested. While they were in jail, they wanted to do something to get their lives back together again. And again, they were turning to faith, and so they were asking. They wanted to. Many of them had been baptized, but hadn't received First Communion. They wanted to receive First Communion. The arrangement with the parish in which the jail was located was that because they couldn't do the background information, everybody that would go through the program would need to be conditionally baptized, and then we do the whole RCIA program. Consequently, I've been doing more baptisms in the last 4 years than I think I've done in my last 30-some years as a priest. But they really want to get their lives back together. They want to show themselves and the family that they are doing something to get their lives back together. So it's been a joy and a pleasure, a privilege just to kind of work with them. While there, I learned a lot about the challenges and hardships that the women encountered upon returning to society. I was particularly hurt, or it kind of hurt my heart to hear that as many of the women were released from the county jail, oftentimes after midnight, particularly for some of the younger who were more vulnerable ones, right outside the jail waiting for them were men who were there to traffic them in the sex trade, whatever. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if instead of those folks out there with open arms to receive them, if their church folks were out to be able to provide some assistance and welcome and an open arms to welcome them. Anyway, around January 2020, I began meeting with the local, the executive director of the St. Vincent de Paul Society, the Archdiocese Office of Restorative Justice. We were looking at what we might be able to do in terms of helping re-entry for women returning into our community. Well, shortly after that, COVID-19 broke out. Now, our group had continued to meet regularly, and because we wanted to see, again, try to develop something. So we want to look around, see who was doing stuff in the area that can kind of help us to kind of get started in this way. And there were a lot of webinars I was watching and so forth. That is how I learned about Susan. And I had actually sent out emails to some other folks in the area. They hadn't responded, but when I sent an email to New Way of Life, got a quick response. I'll also add, I said, we would like, could you help us in looking into reentry ministry? Because again, I'd read so much about what they did. I also said that because our facility was closed, we had an empty convent that was just sitting here and was kind of falling apart. Again, with COVID-19, and we were hearing about the need for that they were trying to empty many of the jails facilities. There was a great need for housing. We heard about what Susan was doing, and I said, we had this old convent that perhaps you could use during this, especially at this time. Anyway, Susan responded quickly, came out, we talked, I learned more about her. She agreed to be a part of a reentry task force that we have been meeting on a monthly basis. In that process, we did secure the use of the convent. Susan was able to acquire grant money to fix the place up. It was looking really down and ugly and worn and so forth. But with her gifts of connections, I couldn't believe how beautiful the facility was. So in August of last year, we actually opened up that convent. We gave it a new name. We call it the Villa, La Villa La Tournelle. It kind of has a a Vincentian connection for us. But it actually became the 10th safe house that Susan has opened here in LA. And we now have 7 returning citizen women who live in the convent with the children. And I'm pleased to say that they are neighbors to the Vincentians here, and we enjoy the presence and the interaction that we have with our neighbors. One of the things I'm most impressed with the safe houses that Susan has. Susan realizes that incarceration is abusive. It wounds the soul, and she really wants her safe houses to be a therapeutic place for women to kind of heal interiorly as they begin the process of rebuilding their lives. We've expanded our collaboration. We've actually provided some office space that New Way of Life could use. New Way of Life acquired some grant to build a community garden. So we've got fresh vegetables coming up on the property, and we're actually starting to expand that garden right now. And Susan is now working on also setting up a legal clinic on campus here with us as well. So I am very excited about that. And then the last, another program I wanted to share with you about is another program that we have been involved in with the St. Vincent de Paul Society is called Coming Together to Get Ahead. It's a life skill program for people who are at risk of falling into poverty. And it's a 22-week program based on it's called Bridges Out of Poverty philosophy. Anyway, we have actually conducted about 5 cohort groups of women, people in this program. And we've actually graduated 5 cohort groups. The last group that we had was a group of women from the formerly incarcerated women. And so it basically enlists them as investigators to learn about the community, navigate social economic world that's built around middle-class values, looks at financial literacy, intercultural literacy. And I'll just tell you one little story about our recent graduates. We had a ceremony for them, and the graduates actually kind of got up and spoke. Several of the ladies talked about having just returned from prison, having been there for 20, and I think one case 30 years. And part of the program, we provide mentors to walk with the ladies during this 20-some year period and just kind of build relationship. And one of the ladies kind of talked about how after 20 years in prison, she came to a world in which now cell phones were, you can't get through world and life without cell phone. And she had no idea of how to use this, and how her mentor was kind of just help her to kind of use just a cell phone to kind of take care of so many different aspects of life. And they talked about the relationship that they developed over those months. Lastly, one of the programs that we're looking to collaborate with is a group called Underground Ministries, in which it's a program that asks for churches to adopt one person who is in prison, develop a relationship with that person while they're in prison, and to be a welcoming community to provide assistance and resources as when they return back to society. And this organization is based in Seattle, Washington. It was introduced to me by Joe Cotton, so we're very excited about working with Underground Ministries in developing a one prisoner, one parish program here with us in Los Angeles. And other groups that we are currently working with is we actually Jewish Temple in Long Beach. They've been part of our monthly reentry task force. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to turn it over to Susan. I just want to say again, it has been a blessing to work with Susan and A New Way of Life. And I'm confident when you hear about her story and her passion for justice. You're going to be inspired and animated. So thank you for this opportunity to be here with you today.
Good morning, everyone. And I want to thank you all for taking time to be here this morning. And I want to especially thank Father Perry for his openness to extend to us the opportunity to house more women, especially amid the pandemic. I think everyone was, tucking their head and getting out of the way and locking in. And there, Father Perry was thinking about, what he could do to help the situation, a crisis situation in our communities, but even more of a crisis situation inside of jails where you can't socially distance, you can't have hand sanitizer, you didn't have access to masks. At the time when he extended us the villa, there was no access for people inside to even have a mask, to wash their hands regularly. And then, of course, we know how people are stacked on top of each other inside of jail. So, I just want to thank Father Perry. I recognize his courageousness and his thoughtfulness about, what he can do in the position that he's in to end pain and suffering and create an opening for a new life for so many women and the next generation, their children. So I just, I think about him all the time. He's a good partner, very good partner. So again, my name is Susan Burton. I'm a formerly incarcerated woman. I had just a little of the backstory. I had a son. I had a really difficult life, and I write about that in my book called Becoming Miss Burton. And my life was just full of abuses of all sorts. And I kind of navigated the abuse, and there was, and, and I had a son. His name was KK. His name was Mark K, and we called him KK. And KK was accidentally killed one day. And at that point, I just could not manage the grief and the pain and the loss of my son. And I began to drink. And I drank to drown the pain, the grief and the loss and the anger. Um, it was a LAPD detective that was driving the car that killed my son. And I tried to medicate my grief, and that led to drug use. And for the drug use, I was incarcerated. And I wasn't incarcerated one time. I was incarcerated 6 times, because every time I left prison or jail, there was just no place to go but back to the old neighborhood and the old friends and the old stuff. People weren't welcoming you back to the community. They were shunning you and they were closing doors. And so the place that I did find was the place I'd left. And that ended up in me getting reincarcerated. Luckily, October 4th of 1997, I found a place in the upscale community of Santa Monica. And that place allowed me a place to recover, a place to begin a healing journey, a place to learn about recovery. Today, I think it's 24 years now. I think 23 or 24. I forget. I'm counting. But October 4th, 1997 was the last day I had a drink or a drug. And I thought that it was really magical. And I couldn't imagine why someone hadn't offered that to me before. But they had not. And I began to think about all the other women like me who just needed a safe place to go when they were released from incarceration, a place to rebuild their lives, a place that held compassion, resources, that was inviting and beautiful and allowed me just to heal and rebuild. So I worked for a while and I saved my money and I um, got a little bungalow in the Watts section of California. It was not Santa Monica, but the house was light, bright, and drug and alcohol free and safe for women to come to. And I got that house and I would meet my friends down at the bus station and let them know I had a safe place for them to come. If they wanted to change their lives, they could come here, come to a new way of life. I called it a new way of life because that's what I had found. I had found a new way of life and I wanted to give that new way of life to other people, just offer them the opportunity. And from that one house, it's just, we just created this safe space of women helping women, and we were all recovering and we were all rebuilding our life. And it was magical. For the first time, there was no suffering. There was no abuse. There was no harm that was being done to us on a daily basis. And things changed. So, I'm gonna fast forward from there till now. If you want the whole story, I would recommend that you buy the book, or that you get the book, or you reach out to Father Perry and tell Father Perry to send you a book, because we will send you a book. But the whole story's in the book. But I'm gonna fast forward to where we are, where it has evolved to. So we have 10 houses in the Los Angeles area. We've helped over 1,300 women and about 400 children reunite with their moms. And I created a program, a training program. When the book was released, I went all around. Well, I'm going to go into the PowerPoint that we prepared for you in a short video, and then I'll open it up for questions. So I created a program called SAFE. SAFE stands for Sisterhood Alliance for Freedom and Equality. Next slide. And that's just a little bit about me, drawing on my own experience. After a year of working, I saved my money and I began to dedicate my life to women who were struggling to rebuild their lives after incarceration. Next slide. Yeah. So that's the first little house. It was a 3-bedroom house in South LA on the border of Watts. And that's where miracles happened. Really, really, really great. Miracles just happened there. That was some of the most, I guess, in my recovery, some of the most grounding and rewarding days that I had. I used to sleep right there behind this bush here in the dining room, and I afforded all the other women to sleep in the bedrooms. Next slide. So that's my book, Becoming Miss Burton. And when that book was published in 2017, I went on a national, international tour to prisons and jails all over the nation and into 3 countries. And I printed 18,000 of those books, and I would sit in prisons and jails and do book readings with women. I felt like women inside was one of my most important audiences for the book, because they had to understand that they had to fight for their lives, and their lives were worth fighting for, that they had to fight for the right to be the best that they can be. Next slide. Yeah. So that's one of the book tours. The woman that I'm hugging, that hug took place in Uganda. in the prison there in Uganda. That woman is out now, but that was just, we just connected and it was just beautiful. And you can tell the beauty by the smiles and the embrace. And then that was another, the over in blue, I think that was Arkansas, where I visited the women down in Arkansas. And over again, I would ask women, how many times have you been to prison? They would say 3, 4, 5 times. And I would ask them what happened, and they would say over and over again, there's no place for us to go when we leave here. And they would, impart upon me the urgency for there to be houses like what was it, LA County in their part of the country. Next slide. That's again Uganda and the jail, and the picture of me on the left there is Linwood, where Father Perry held mass. And when the pandemic hit, no one else could. Masses ended, and there was no access to people inside other than through letters. But those are some of the book readings and some of the books that I gave away. Out of those 18,000 books right now, I think I have about 10 books. And I called my publisher this morning because women are still writing, asking for the books, and correctional officers are asking for the books. So I called my publisher this morning and asked her, what can we do to make another print? I can't print 18,000, but maybe I can print some hundreds and continue to distribute the books to women. Next slide. So every year in the United States, 1.9 million women are released. And many of those women, most of those women, they have nowhere to go. We spend, next slide. We spend so much. So, on incarceration and not enough on reentry. So this is the creation of the SAFE network. Afterwards, I created a training, and this is one of the trainings that we did in LA in August, I believe, of 2019. That was actually the last training that we were able to do. So we created the Safe House Network, and it's a network of homes across the United States, where actually we're in 18 states right now. And in order to be a part of the SAFE network, you must come and be trained to implement the model. Next slide. So these are the different places that the SAFE network houses are located. 18 SAFE houses, 13 states, 2 countries. And it's growing. And when there's a need and you reach to fill that need, what I know is that, God sprinkles his blessing upon it, and that, and it grows. Where there's the will to do the work, God works through us. And this is a result of what I know is God working through me. And there's more to come. Next slide. So we spend $60,000 to $75,000 a year to incarcerate a woman. And it takes $18,000 to put a woman through our programs at A New Way of Life. And when we spend 60 to 75K, that woman leaves prison more broken and more harmed than when she went in. When we spend 18,000 a year to house a woman through A New Way of Life's model, that woman leaves with employment, with a whole new lease and a whole new look at life. It's just transformative what happens when we support people to heal, to take responsibility for their lives, to become accountable, and to become a contributing members of our society. Next slide. So my name, I want to share with you about the Safe Housing Network, what this little short video, and then I just want to let you know about an upcoming training. Yeah, you can play the video. I'm founder and president of A New Way of Life Reentry Project. The problem I'm addressing is the mass incarceration of women. Women are the fastest growing segment of the criminal justice system, and 1.9 million women come home each year across the United States. A New Way of Life provides housing, case management, reunification services, job placement, training opportunities. And I'm proposing that we expand A New Way of Life Reentry Project across the entire United States. The project is called SAFE, Sisterhood Alliance for Freedom and Equality. Success will be measured by the number of women that we serve, the number of hubs that we put up, the number of children that are reuniting with their parents, the number of people that get jobs, and the number that do not recidivate. What we have here is a solution to a national crisis that we will reallocate resources back to the community, reduce the prison population, allow our communities and our families to heal. If we're going to end mass incarceration, we must address women, and we especially must address the reentry of Black women. We want to take SAFE all over the nation. This is a solution that is working. Okay, so that's a snapshot of it. I think it goes much deeper in our day-to-day walk to support people. What Father Perry has extended me the training room out at the villa at the St. Vincent de Paul Society's, the Vincentian Center. And August 11th through August 13th, we will be having a training. It will be the first training in almost 2 years. The last one was 2019. It'll be the first training in 2 years. And I'm happy to get the training back going, happy to allow people to actually use our model to address, the ending of recidivism, supporting people to heal, and creating a way forward for our communities and for women who have, been incarcerated. So I think that's it, Karen, for me. And if folks, and again, I just want to say, Father Perry sits quietly back and by, and I want to thank him for trusting and believing that in the possibilities for women, and extending the convent to us. We couldn't have done this, got those women out of harm's way without you, Father Perry. So I just want to again say thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. And you're such a prime example of collaborative work. And knowing that you have a 90% success rate on the women that you bring in, you've got the formula, there's no question. So, and then also understanding that, that I think statistically it's 75% of the women coming out have signs of mental disorders, and the majority meet the criteria, for substance abuse disorder. And that's what keeps them in the cycle for recidivating. And tell me, when you first came out, could you walk us through a little bit of who your immediate partners and who the key partners are? Because we have some people on this call that may have the space and they're looking at starting a program, but your partners, having your key partners in place is crucial even before you get the training. It started, who do we bring in? Who has to be at the table to make this successful?
So I joined with the collaborative group, the reentry roundtable that Father Perry had established, and there was I guess about 8 of us at the table. Father Perry, maybe you can identify all the people within that group that was there. I know it was Catholic Charities. Uh, um,
It was not Catholic. It was the Office of Restorative Justice for for, uh, for the Archdiocese. Basically, they have they have a chaplain at the women's jail, and so we brought them to the table. There was the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which is, we had the executive director for that group. We also, within the society, we had this program called Coming Together to Get Ahead. So Phil was involved in that. And then we had a sister of Notre Dame of Namur who was working with me in the prison. She was a part of the group. And let's see, the folks from New Way of Life. And then just recent, I would say in the last 3 months, the Beth Temple Israel in Long Beach, they joined because they are interested in doing, particularly excited about the one prisoner, one parish program. So those were the groups that we had gotten together for this local initiative collaborative.
And then on my side, my county board of supervisor really wanted to see something in her district and had been asking me for a while to create something in her district. And so it was just perfect. And what I find, Karen, is that when something starts and is something concrete that people can see, the people come and they want to be a part of change. They want to be a part of a solution. They want to be a part of healing and supporting. Yeah.
You have if you could drill down a little more on the wraparound services, if, by chance they're in a state that does not have the structure, California is way ahead with this whole, the Department of Restorative Justice that's been working on this issue for some time. But if you're starting out new, I know that could you talk about how you integrate the 12-step, the healing process, part of your program, and because everyone needs to go through, that has been even into the criminal justice system, go through that whole process of finding out, reclaiming the dignity of who they are, and that process. And I know you have something, don't you have like a daily meditation or?
Every morning we start with morning meditation, where we read from a recovery book or a one day at a time book, or a spiritual meditation book, and we focus on the reading, and then we set goals. They set goals, and I still attend those morning meditations. Sometimes not as often as I used to wake up every morning to them. So the day starts with the morning meditation, and there is an agreement upon entry that people will that the women will participate in the morning meditation. We have 12-step work. We have 12-step meetings that we attend. People attend church, haven't in quite a while because of the pandemic. But what I want to tell you, Karen, is that when there is a safe, supportive, and loving environment, people take on a whole different approach to themselves, their lives, and their futures. Now, are there hiccups? There are hiccups, but I think we all experience hiccups in our lives. And having support, this is the difference. Having support through hiccups and not being judged through hiccups is, I think, the magic sauce at a new way of life. But yeah, we have over the years, we've partnered with universities to bring in legal services. We've partnered with agencies to help with family reunification. But when a person can have some tangible hope, then faith kicks in, and then determination comes, and then things just change. So, when I began, like, it was only me, and I slept in the dining room, and it was a start. I think we're far ahead of sleeping in the dining room right now, with the training. And I've trained people all over the nation, and I've supported them to some of them. I couldn't support everybody, but I supported some of them to start their agency, to start their place. And I'm given a start and a training to implement the model. I'm not trying to own the model. I'm just trying to spread the knowledge, and then support the growth of safe places for people in our communities.
I know there's regional, cultural, and I appreciate your openness to that, allowing flexibility with the program. But could you talk about, because you are unique in the idea of unification with children and having the children live in the facility, but do you have requirements that the women, especially if they're having to address and do their self-work through, especially when they're dealing with their addictions, is it like that they earn it, bring their children back? Do you get them whole first, then bring the children, or is it all at once and that facilitates? And I'm just curious, does that assist in the healing? Your experience on that?
It's usually a process, because nobody walks out of jail or prison and everything is, like spot on, the magic, everything comes back together. It's all a process, and she's supported through the process. Usually there's courts involved and social workers involved, and we support the woman to meet the requirements of the court and to adhere to the social worker demands. Getting your children back out of the child welfare system or the child protective system is like a job with overtime. So we support them to meet all of those requirements, and so it's gradual. And we have a 30-day period when a woman comes into the homes that we call a period of adjustment. Well, they call it restriction, but I call it detox and incarceration and adjusting back to the community. And those 30 days is a time where she can't run around unless she's escorted by staff. And we're taking her to get her medical benefits. We're taking her to comply with her probation or parole. We are enlisting her in benefits. We're asking her, do you want to go to school? Would you like to get a job? Do you need training? What can we do to support you to get back adjusted? And I think that's key. Those days of detox and those days of actually getting familiar with a new environment and building trust.
Thank you. That's so helpful. You made reference to, and I appreciate that you're working with Underground Ministries. They did a town hall for us, and please go on our website, and Jared's put links in the chat as far as how to connect with them. And thank you, Father Perry, for facilitating that. That's crucial. We all as parishes should. One person, one commitment is not major, but it is major to that one person and the transformative process it has to the people that are engaged in the process of understanding who we're incarcerating. And but tell me about how do you work within the prisons so that the women know that you exist? And then with your limited number of beds, unfortunately, we wished you had 50 houses, but how do you qualify, or what's your referral process, and how do you determine who is eligible to come in to your homes?
So, I think Joe Cotton is familiar with the process of engaging people while they're inside. And, our referrals are pretty much self-referrals, people who want to engage.
Mhm.
There are so many people that just want to be communicated with, want to be, valued, want to receive a letter.
Mhm.
So people write us. We've been around now over 20 years. And it started with my own communication and my own relationships. But over time, it's like a new way of life. They tell me a new way of life is the place to go. They're going to really help you. So it's word of mouth. And we send information inside. Occasionally, a parole officer or a probation officer will contact us. We have a relationship with a probation that we are actually centered in one of the probation departments to do family reunification with not only women but men too. So we've been around and we have um, gotten we people know us, but we can all start right where we're at to begin to build and engage and to get people to know us. So I just want to like think of what the possibilities are and not what the challenges are, because when we step into the possibilities, the challenges will fall to the wayside.
And how did you find your the opportunity for employment for the women? I know you've got a network there, but when you first started out, as far as getting companies to employ people with a record.
So, I'm a part of a group of people that actually launched the campaign to ban the box.
Mm.
And we, talked with our elected officials, people who knew me and knew about a new way of life, and people that wanted to help. At first, started doing some employment. If you probably saw the video where the woman who was in the laundromat, and she said they call me the bubble lady now. And she was cleaning and washing clothes and keeping a laundromat clean. And that was a friend of mine. That woman now is a minister in Texas. She's got married and, but, she just did like 4 hours a day at the local laundromat. And she was, she said, they call me the bubble lady, but I'm happy to be just doing bubbles. So that's how it started. Now we actually have a relationship with the workforce development. We have a staff, we have 2 staff members who are responsible for getting people jobs, enrolling people in school, and we're teaching a class at Linwood County Jail on employment. And again, I want to impress that, you start where you are, and then like a magnet, people come, they want to help. They want to see change in the world. And I'm actually looking at, is it possible for us to create a coding class? And out at the villa and meeting around, coding is, while people can't use cell phones, they can go from using a cell phone to learning coding if the opportunity is there.
That's creative. That's creative. Father Perry, I'm going to grab you real quick just for some of the people that are on this call. How can you encourage, what is the best way to encourage their parishes and their dioceses to get involved in a project like this? There's some individuals that they've been meeting and they've got this idea, but they've got to convince these outside partners, and the church would be crucial. What's your recommendations on that?
Well, I'll share with you what we're trying to do here. And again, I'm kind of new to this whole scene to begin with, but again, one of the things that we're proposing to do, and I'm working more through our St. Vincent de Paul Society, is encouraging again, this one parish, one prisoner, one parish program. And several parishes have expressed an interest, and again, it is actually working with the church, but I'm hoping like groups like our St. Vincent de Paul Society could be like the leadership group within that to assist the churches. One of the wonderful things about that program, it talks about this letter writing that can go to people in the prisons. And in fact, with our own society, which we do a lot of work with just the one-to-one service, just visiting people in the prisons and jails, and just establishing one-on-one relationships with them. So, and of course, our St. Vincent de Paul Society, we're known for, we provide a lot of wraparound services that people need for in terms of emergencies. And that's where we're hoping to kind of connect with organizations like New Way of Life, because we could actually provide a lot of the assistance that many of the ladies need. I would love to see more of, you know, I go to the, I mentioned I would go to the county jail twice a month, and I know we had a lot of the Protestant groups would go in, and they had services and so forth. I would love to see more engagement of our own Catholic groups who might choose to be, whether it's communion ministry. Obviously, COVID-19 has kind of put a wrap on some of that now, but I think that there's some opportunities for a more engagement of our parishioner people in the pews to be involved in this area of ministry. And I think that there are a lot of opportunities that may be available. So those are, I guess, some of the thoughts that I had on what we're trying to do.
Thank you, thank you. You know, one of our goals is to break down the silos and just create this umbrella across the country of us working together and collaboratively. So as you mentioned, I'm delighted that the Vincentians are looking into letter writing, because that was the only thing that just when we got stopped cold from going into the prisons. And the Knights of Malta have got a very set up program for distributing, and they've got a need for people within the prisons. They need names because they've got more people to write the names. So we need to do the sharing and getting our messages out, and then also to add you to the list of the pen pal opportunities. And if people are interested in visiting, on our website, we have a foundational training for people that are going in, just so that they have a comfort and learn some of the basic listening skills and accompaniment, and how to be present to someone and what to expect in a visit. And then we are really looking forward to, with the Vincentians, as you grow your immersion program, identifying who's doing what across the country. So we can put that up in the website, and people can work together. And in Catholic Charities USA, the same thing. This is, we're as Catholics, Susan, we're bad about promoting the good things that we're doing, and we've also, these good things create their own little capsules, and and this is the purpose of this gathering, is to cross-pollinate, to share ideas, and we want to share you and your message and your training across the country. So we will promote your upcoming training and spread this around. And we're very, very grateful for your ministry. Jared has been putting.
Yeah, Karen, if people would like to think about attending their training, they can go to the SAFE webpage, and there is a place to actually register. for the training. I don't charge for the training. There is some training materials, and the binder is about maybe $45, $50 when we put it together. I'm going to ask people to pay for the training materials, but the training is absolutely free. And the meals at the training is free. So we have a good time at the training, sharing, meeting ideas of people who want to help. So if people would like to apply to the training, please just apply, and we'll be in touch and give you the dates and the place of the training.
That's wonderful.
I wondering if maybe Susan could also say a little bit about the film festival that you sponsor every year.
Yes.
I found that a great tool to educate people about the issues around mass incarceration.
We have a film festival called Justice on Trial Film Festival. It will be held this year virtually, September 30th through, I think it's October 4th. We have 5 days of films. You know, we show one film a day. We used to show, pre-COVID, we showed about 13 films over the 5 days, but we're showing one film a day, panels, and it's about exposing the injustice and exploring the solutions.
Wow, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We will definitely reach out to you for that information and put it up on our website. I mean, that's exactly what we're, one of our missions is to educate Catholics on the whole wraparound, all of the effects of mass incarceration, how we got there, but also what the need to be part of the solution, which you are definitely a prime example of.
Thanks.
No, this has been amazing. I just want to ask anyone if they want to drop a question in the chat before we sign off, and or unmute and ask a question. When you've got experts like this, we got to grab you. Your time is precious, and we once again thank you so much for this. And I know that it just is. It's amazing how you have. I see how you have grown and through and added all of the pieces. And okay, there's a question that just popped up. Do you have plans to expand to the juvenile incarcerated community too? And that'd be young women for you, especially.
So we do have women who are in the Ventura Youth Authority. They're 20. So our population begins at, I think the youngest woman is 19. The oldest woman, I think, is 76. So it's across lines. But what I want to say is, I think our model of support, compassion, and discipline too, works across all age groups. I don't particularly have plans of starting working with young people, but I'd love to train you if you want to work with young people. I'd love for you to come to the training. I'd love for you to be supported to learn our model. And when you said in the beginning, Karen, about 50 of us in 50 states, that's what I plan to, I can't clone, but I can train. And I can give the information. So, young people need to be supported to not have to graduate into prisons.
Absolutely. What about one other last real quick question is, with these over 1,300 women out there, how do you do ongoing support? Do you have reunions? Do you, I know you have to bring in the next crop, but how do you support them ongoing?
Yeah, we were talking about having an alumni event every year. So we usually did that at Mother's Day. And this year, we usually would have it in the backyard, a backyard barbecue at one of the homes. But this year we had our Mother's Day at the villa. and we had hand massages, and we had good food, and we had music, and we had testimonies, and there was about over 100 people there. And so we were talking about creating an official alumni gathering at A New Way of Life, but it's usually we're keeping in touch through Facebook.
Wonderful, wonderful. We are so grateful. I mean, you're getting lots of asked. One person's asking, "Where's your home in Mississippi?" I know there.
It's called REC Foundation, reaching and educating others. RECH. A woman by the name of Pauline runs. She has a place that she's had in Mississippi for a really long time, and she adopted our model and implementing it there. Her name is Pauline Rogers, and she's there in Mississippi. And I just want to go down there and visit Pauline. She said before she met me, she felt like she was alone doing this work and didn't have support. Now she's part of the network.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Father Perry, for your good work. Thank you, Susan, for keeping him going and your mutual back and forth. We can see that this is resonating and rippling effects. And I know that this time for us together is going to have rippling effects through the church and through the United States. So God bless you. We pray for your health, your strength, and your stamina. And thank you for answering God's call to this ministry.
Thank you,
both of you.
Yeah,
both
and I want to shout out and thank Jared. He's been busy in the chat.
Yes.
For his technical support. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, Father Perry.
Yes, we are always grateful. Jared just makes things happen.
Yes.
And he's the glue.
Yeah.
He's the CPMC glue. He's amazing.
Thank
you for your time.
you, Karen. Thank you so much.
This was a gift.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.